Coach Frye, Gamecocks getting set to head to Athens for the Spec Towns Invitational meet that you go to pretty much every year. And, of course, coming off of another meet that is always on the calendar, Florida Relays down in Gainesville. And what a meet it was for you guys. I know the competition is always fierce down there. It's hard to win events, but you got it done in the women's 4x4. That group that won the national championship, running together outdoors for the first time this season, and coming away with the victory. I think it was 327-53, number one in the NCAA, number two in the world, and an incredible closing stretch by Waddle and Jonathas. To see that group together on the track and to put that kind of time together, first time they've run in about a month together in that event, no signs of rust, and that's got to give you and the entire team a lot of confidence going forward for what they can do outdoors.
You know, it was a great run, and to have it win there at Florida Relays. And one of my special moments was that one of the athletes that really got me a lot of notoriety about mile relays was honored there, Tyrone Kemp. You know, he's struggling some, and our prayers go out to him. And Mike Holloway gave him an award and named the 400 relay his relay, and for us to be a part of that relay with that. This young man ran 44.6 for me back in the day. And so that was an emotional moment for us to see him and to see that performance. And, yes, there were some things great about that relay, but there's some room for improvement. Jonathan's was a little bit too far behind because of a handoff. Every kid on that relay did their part to put us into position. And then we had a bobble handoff that gave her about a more than a 5 meter lead, and then she was really patient about making that up, and it made me nervous at 300 meters because she basically was about 40 meters down, and I didn't think it was going to occur, and then she did something miraculously, but that's what we were coming to expect of her at this point. Last year, 327.01 was a national champion, and a young lady made a big run like that. And very few times you don't want athletes that have to have that kind of run. So our girls have got to step it up. Florida's really good. They had a big leaders. In Arkansas, I know it was Alabama. They loaded up their great sprinters, and they have a strategy to get far enough away from Carolina, and it's not going to stop. You got A&M, and you got Arkansas still coming down the line, so the war just began.
The 4x4 is, I think, probably what everybody's going to remember from the 2019 Florida Relays, but it was far from the only record-setting performance for you guys. I think you had 10 new entries on the program all-time top 10 list, men's 4x2 and women's sprint medley and women's 4x8. Amanda in the hammer throw and several distance marks. I know AK and Allie and Heather and Kelsey in the steeplechase all had new program top 10 marks. The entire team seemed like they were ready to go, and a lot of people left with memorable efforts that they can be proud of and that they can build off of.
Well, it was a big challenge for our kids because we had indoors. We ran some home meets, and home meets our kids were really good, and then we had our first experience away at the conference meet, and it was difficult. We didn't handle the jitters, so a lot of our team meeting last week was, hey, you got to leave your house. You can't have a home Olympics. You got to go away. And going to Florida and competing on the grounds of the Gators gives you that jitters that you need. They got the 4,500 fans, all the high school kids, and everybody's clapping. And the clap is a big old clap. And so it gives you that. It's a great help to an outsider coming in if you can compete. And our kids, they knew that we're going into a hostile environment, and they knew that competing well. And they know the 4x4 and the 4x2 and the 4x1s are big races for them. And so they do going onto the track. We need to step up. And not only just the Gators, then Purdue was great. And then the 4x4 was won by Iowa, who ran the fastest time in the country at this time. So there are lots of things that went on there that help our kids grow up.
Your field event athletes, I know they're not one big group that they train as different position group, but your field event athletes have really stepped up over the last couple weeks. Armand in the pole vault and Eric in the shot put. Jan is still top 10 in the region in the triple jump, which I know isn't even his his number one event. I know Michaela almost jumped 6 meters in the long jump as well, and Charisma's been doing well. Amanda, a lot of different people in the field events have really turned it up a notch for you guys the last 2 or 3 weeks.
I think our idea is sharing the smiles. We want everybody to have personal best, but share the smiles. There's a chance for the other kids to smile at each other when they recognize others have improved. It's hard to go up when someone's not having a good meet and smile and carry on meet. So we're trying to share the smiles, and that's kind of a theme for us. Our kids are getting together to celebrate. We started the night off great. AK and them in the 5K. Were personal best, and they went out and led the race. They didn't all the way up until the last 800 meters and had personal best. And the next day we open up and have Isaiah in a great hurdle race, and then the next day the long jump, and you get this. Daly gets a great long jump off. So once you start sharing the smiles, everybody wants to get one, and so. It's a lot of fun. We get over and we start seeing the shot put throw. When we see Ben's in the throws, he makes the finals, which we don't get to talk about, and he's improving.
Sure.
So when you're sharing the smiles, then improvement comes. You got to enjoy competition and the experience of athletics, because everyone doesn't get this opportunity, and the opportunity doesn't last forever.
Let's talk about this week in the Spectowns Invitational in Athens, Georgia. Like we said, a meet you're very familiar with. Go to it pretty much every year. And I know after a heavy week at Florida Relays and a lot of kids running 2, 3, even 4 different races, that this week might be a little bit lighter for you guys. But still, I know you and I were talking before the cameras were rolling, an opportunity for some athletes to compete in events that they don't normally compete in, but they have an opportunity to show you what they're capable of.
You try to make it a down meet. You try to give them some training through meet. You got to be careful whenever they're starting to want to get a smile, because we went down to Charleston. It was a light meet, and then we end up having 18 personal best, and the kids start just rolling. I'm sure at Georgia, as easy as we try to simplify this and get them some technical moves and put them in different events, they're training at a high level with an idea of how they can score in a conference and become get to the regional meet, and how they can contribute to total programs. My expectations are not lower, because we're altering some events. They're going to do special things. We got special kids. They like each other, and so they're going to carry on, and we're going to have great performance. Georgia is a tough place to be. That's the defending men's outdoor national champions that are at that track, and they're going to rise up at home, just like our kids will the next week when we come here to honor Terrence Trammell, which I hope Gamecock Nation comes out to support Mickey and Terrence Trammell. But we will put on. The USA team will be here to run. So Georgia will have similar things. Their field events are incredible, which doesn't get as much notoriety, but it gives our kids a chance to get with world-class competition and collegiately class competition. So it gives us an experience that I like getting into, the environment of where they're world-class athletes.
Should be a lot of fun. Gamecocks at the Spectowns Invitational Friday and Saturday. I think both days start at about 9 o'clock in the morning. Coach Frye, congrats on everything that happened down at Florida, and we're expecting more big things in Athens this week.
Hey, go Gamecocks, and congratulations to that tennis team that's moved to the top 3 in the country. And big things that happened here in Columbia. The great facilities, great academics, headed in the right. They've got a spring football game coming up. So Gamecock Nation is a great place to be. It's great to be a Gamecock.
No doubt about it. Thank you, Coach.